Hello my friends, this is Miss Karen and I'm your instructor for today's lesson. Zentangle Farm. Zentangles, 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 I love Zentangles. Zentangles are basically patterns. You can go very simple, like circles and hearts, or you can go with these more detailed patterns, like circles with stripes in them. Take a look at the samples that I've given you here. Sure, the pink hearts are pretty, but the white ones are more detailed. There are patterns inside patterns. Either style is great for this project. What I suggest is drawing this 2 times. Make one with the simple Zentangle patterns and make one with the harder ones. Just challenge yourself. You're an artist and you can do it. So what we want to do to start with is get a piece of paper. You're going to notice that the paper is very thick. That is on purpose. We want nice, thick, quality paper so we can do nice, quality artwork. What we're going to do is a landscape. So our paper is going to go side to side. That's called horizontal. The horizon. You need a nice area to see the horizon where the sun comes up. If it were this way, there's not a whole lot of land space right there. You can't see a whole lot of sun coming up there. So let's put it side to side. And let's get our pencil out. Please know that you want to sketch, not draw. And we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing we need to notice about our sample picture here, which is inspired by folk art. Folk art is almost like a childlike drawing style. Folk art is very, very popular. It's seen a lot in country style art. So we're going to do a folk art barn and sunset. So the first thing we need to notice though is that the area where our land meets the sky is higher than halfway up our paper. So let's look at that. If this is halfway up our paper, we need to come up higher. Not to the top, but I'm thinking, I don't know, 3 or 4 fingers from the top. And we're going to just come down and slightly angled, and then back up. Now, wherever this falls on your paper, it's not wrong. There's just not a wrong way to do art. If you find that that's not going to work on your picture and you just want to go across, totally fine. So up on this side, we're going to work on our house. So we want to draw 1, 2 lines. Let's come up. I didn't draw them quite tall enough. So a nice tall area, and cap it off with a semicircle. And then I want you to come down a little bit and do the roof of the house. All right, up and down. And then straight down. We're going to draw a line. And then we're going to come down. Now we're going to connect this corner to this corner. Since it's a barn, it needs a nice large barn door. And very often barn doors have X's made out of wood. So we're going to do a V, an upside down V, backwards V, another backwards V, and there you go, I've made an X in the door. Kind of cool, huh? Now we need to add some windows. Add as many as you like. At the top, instead of going by the picture, I'm going to do a semicircle. Because very often barns have a big open area with hay hanging out, and I like that. Add a couple of windows on the side, and your barn is done. Now what we want to do is figure out where our sun is going to be rising. I think I want my sun somewhere over here, so I'm going to draw a very soft semicircle, another semicircle, and we'll connect them with lines. It's just a groovy sun. It's nothing special. It's not realistic or anything like that. It's just a cool looking sun. Now let's draw in some trees. You can put as many as you like on here, but please remember that trees typically grow taller than houses. So if you draw teeny tiny little trees and a big giant house, they're going to look more like plants. So what I like to do is have my trees go off the page. So like an oval with 2 lines. Another one. Now if this one is coming behind this one, I won't finish drawing it because this one's in front. Draw my lines for the trunk and erase any lines from the sun because the sun is going to be behind the trees. I'm going to do one more. Now you can add as many as you like. Like I said, there's no wrong way to do art, but I think I'm going to stop at 3. I like to do them in even numbers. It's just easier, more fun to do. All right, so now it's time to do the different crops. These areas are going to be coming off in lines, but we want them to kind of fan out a little bit. We don't want them coming straight down. So slightly angled and start bringing it straight. And now I'm going to start slightly angling again. And now the last thing I'm going to do before I start my Zentangling is I'm going to section each one of those lines in half in different areas. This one's so small, I'm not going to. All right, so now I want you to get a permanent marker. We're going to outline this picture and then we will get back together in just a minute. Okay, so this is a permanent marker, and I like using permanent markers to outline things because I think it really helps bring the design forward. If you do not want to outline it, you don't have to, but I will tell you that depending on what you choose to fill this in with, the design may fall away. It might go away if you have very soft pencil lines and nothing to guide you. So go ahead and pause this video, outline all of your lines, pretend that your marker is your choo-choo train and your pencil lines are your tracks, and stay on your tracks. And outline everything. When we get back, we'll start working on some Zentangles. All right, let's pause. Okay, my friends, so now everything should be nicely outlined and it's time to Zentangle. Once again, like I stated at the beginning of our lesson, if you want to start with the more simple designs, go for it. And then if you want to work up to drawing more difficult things, you can. So you can do polka dots. And notice my polka dots on the very edge. That one doesn't come out all the way. If something doesn't fit wherever you're drawing it, don't force it. Just draw part of it. There you go. So that would be polka dots. I can do checkerboard. To draw checkerboard, you would draw straight lines going one way and then straight lines going the other way. Now the filling in is difficult on checkerboard. So here's what I like to do. I take my main center area and I'll color in each one of these, every other one, my black. Okay? So pretend that I have done a really good job filling these in. I have taken my time. They look really, really good. Once I have done this row, then I'm going to come to this row. Well, if I put a black square next to a black square, it's going to be a bigger black square, and that's not what I want. I want a black square to touch a white square. So would I do black or white here? White. So let's skip that one and go to this one. And I would do it for the next one too. So now let's pretend I have fully finished that one. Now it's time for this row. This one, black or white? White. This one, black. This one, black or white? White. This one, black. Black or white? White. Black. Okay, here we go. Got a little baby one here right next to white. Black, white, black, white. Oh, we got a little baby white one here next to a black, so that stays white, and that one goes black. So you see, you really have to work at remembering what's next to what, otherwise you're going to have a funny looking checkerboard. So let's think of another shape we can do. We're going to pretend that this section is all checkerboarded. All right, I think we could do flowers, circles with teardrops coming out. You can do those all over the place. See, a pattern repeats itself. So there was a cartoon that was on, I think it was on Nickelodeon for a while, and I think it's still playing actually. And they do snack patterns, and I know it's so elementary to be going over it with you, but they say bread, turkey, cheese, pickle, bread, turkey, cheese, pickle. Or yogurt, berry, peaches, yogurt, berry, peaches. Those are patterns. So as you can see, it's bread, turkey, chicken, bread, turkey, chicken, bread, turkey, chicken. You see, it's the same thing over and over and over. You can do circles with circles, so like Cheerios. You can do stars. Okay, my friends, I think you get the gist of it. So what I want you to do is pause the video and fill in the whole picture full of patterns. You can even do the sky if you want to do it. And then we'll get back together and we will fill it in with color. All right, my friends, so I have filled in everything with Zentangle. And I think it looks pretty cool as is. And in all honesty, I do not have to fill this in if I don't want to, and you don't have to fill yours in if you don't want to. As the artist, it's your choice. You can make 30 of these and fill them in different ways if you choose to. But what I want to do is go over basic art supplies with you and how to use them. And that way you can choose which art medium you want to use out of your box. And as you know, every month I send you different art mediums to use. So there could be chalk pastels or oil pastels, pencil colors, crayons. I don't normally do crayons though. Markers, all kinds of different art supplies, along with glitter paints, acrylic paints, tempera paints, and so on. Okay, so we have pencil colors or colored pencils. And for these, they are dry and you can just go in and fill it in just like normal. The reason I call them dry is because they take no time to dry. They're already dry. Now the cool thing about pencil colors is you can layer them. So I can come over here and take this lighter blue and add some lighter blue on top of my darker blue and really add some dimension, some depth. Make it look cool. Another thing you can do are watercolors. Watercolors are transparent, meaning they're a little bit see-through. You have to use water to wet them. So you put a little bit of water in your well. It's called a well or a cake of paint. And you can fill in. Now, if you have a red puddle next to a blue puddle and they touch, what do you have? you have a purple puddle because they mix together. And the reason I'm saying this is if I put a color right next to that wet red paint, they're going to bleed together. And we don't want that to happen. So what you may want to do is now move to another area and let each section dry as you go. Now you can layer these paints, which is kind of cool because you can make them darker and darker. But one thing you don't want to do is dip in one color and then in the next, because you're just going to mix them up, and that's not a good thing to do. So as your cake starts to dry out, add a touch more water, stir it up a little bit, and you can continue. Now if you have way too much paint on your watercolor picture, you can take a napkin and just lightly touch the puddle and the napkin will soak it up. The last thing that we will look at right now is acrylic paints. Acrylic or tempera paints come in the same basic way. I send them in these self-contained little areas. Both of them need a dry paintbrush to paint with. Acrylic paint is a little bit more solid than tempera paint is. Tempera paint has a little bit of a jelly feel to it, and acrylic paint is just a solid paint. You can mix the colors, but be careful because if you mix all three primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue, if you mix them together, do you know what color you'll get? You'll get brown. So unless you want brown, I don't recommend you doing that. So now it's up to you how you'd like to fill in your picture. I want you to take your time. I want you to really make it look good and take pictures so Miss Karen can see. Make sure you have mom or dad take pictures and put them on our Facebook page. And then you'll be famous. Now I did want to show you before you go some examples of more detailed Zentangles. Now these are done by students and they are still in the works because our class this week, which was on Zentangles, ended up having students that were really loving it. So they just really took their time. So here's one. You see the flower and then they have almost like scales and some zigzags. Then here they did a spider web and then filled each section of the spider web with patterns. Webs with, scales with scales. This is almost like a heartbeat with a heartbeat. Now this is the actual picture from the other lesson that we have done in the past for this session actually, and it's our peacocks. Here we have one. We have stars outlined with stars. We got droopies, flowers outlined. So you see there's a lot going on there. It's not finished, but that's okay. Still looking pretty cool. Okay, my friends, I had a great time working on our Zentangles with you. I hope you enjoyed it too. It is a really fun project. You can turn just about any coloring book page or picture into Zentangles. So start creating. Have some fun with it. I look forward to working with you guys again. Have a great day.